IP strategy goes through 7 phases when increasing your company's value. Let me draw them out here for you. Let's examine how value changes over time. You start out with an initial perceived value, and you expect that that value is going to increase over time as you apply your IP strategy. But the audit often reveals problems that were previously invisible. This may be disappointing and shocking to you, but don't worry. This brings you to the exposed stage. The positive news is that early audit findings can show where you can find a quick fix. You can make some of these quick wins when you review contracts that highlight gaps in protection. For example, does every employee have an employment contract? Are the terms consistent? Do they cover confidentiality? Do they cover ownership of employee-created IP? Are departing employees reminded in exit interviews that their confidentiality obligations continue after the employment is terminated? Other contracts with suppliers and customers may also need to be tightened up on protection of confidentiality and ownership of IP. These contracts may also indicate obligations on the company. If open source software is being used, are there protections to ensure employees are not infringing on the IP of others? Even before looking at existing software for potential exposures, it's important to make sure that going forward, all employees know they should not use code for future development that could create new risks of infringing others' patents or copyright. These initial measures can create immediate benefits and put the company on the path to increased value from IP strategy. After these initial fixtures, the next step is to fill the gaps. Using a program of invention mining to benefit from previous development work performed by the company. Any successful organization will have had challenges in the past and will have tried to resolve them with a variety of interesting technological solutions. Invention mining will identify the most promising technological candidates to take through a process of patent drafting that leads to patent applications being filed. This is a very effective way of filling the gaps in IP protection and building a relevant portfolio. Until the patent application has been granted, it cannot be enforced. However, the priority date of the patent goes back to the application date. In other words, once the patent application is filed, the inventor doesn't need to have very restrictive NDAs in place when discussing technology. Another way to fill the gap is to acquire an issued patent that's available on the market. While it's not your own invention, there are some benefits to this strategy. You can skip the long timeline of waiting several years for a patent to be granted. You can de-risk the process because you can avoid the risk of patent applications not being granted. You can choose from a broad range of patents that are already in the market. And you can select technologies that have been established for a few years. While issued patents can be more expensive than filing your own inventions, they do have benefits of speed and increased certainty. You could be facing into a competitive situation where you may need patents as weapons in future battles. If you're worried about cash flow, you might be able to negotiate an exclusive option to purchase the patent by paying around 10 to 20% of the purchase price. This means you can avoid a large upfront expense and exercise the option to buy the patent only if it becomes necessary at some time in the future. Simple IP strategies often focus just on patents. A broader IP strategy will cover more than patents. As this process exposes problems, applies quick fixes, and fills gaps, the business starts to show the benefits of IP-related activities. More people within the organization become aware of opportunities and the contribution of IP strategy to how the company can explode its value. This awareness allows strategy to branch out and extend past simple patenting activity into other forms of intangible value capture and exploitation, such as trademarks and trade secrets. Patents are excellent tools to protect an inventor and give a company time to build a business from the invention. This protection allows the company to develop a market, nurture its reputation, and deliver premium products to customers. The benefits of building this reputation can be further locked in with trademark protection that can continue forever, even after the underlying patent may have expired. Any company that's built a pipeline of patentable technologies will also have built a broad base of know-how and trade secrets. Recent legislation has further strengthened the protection for trade secrets. As employees become more aware of the value of trade secrets, they can take active steps to protect these valuable intangible assets. This multi-pillared approach to intangible value reinforces and strengthens the overall strategic position. So the gaps are filled and awareness grows. The company can move on from opportunistic patenting activities and can focus on a deliberate strategy of intangible value creation. Invention mining in Fill the Gap stage focuses on extracting value from historical development activities, capturing, protecting, and building a base for exploitation. It looks at inventions from the past that may have current applicability. As the company moves through the stages of IP strategy evolution, the focus moves from the past, protecting legacy inventions, to the future, with its targeted inventions for future value. I've spoken in other places about how intangible value can be recognized more concretely in financial terms. As the CFO becomes more familiar with how the company can account for intangible value, the return on investment on IP can be measured in financial terms. This evolution in the company's IP sophistication and its intangible value creation is a story that will appeal to investors. It outlines in financial terms that they understand how the proactive activities of the company generate intangible value that can be reflected in the balance sheet of the company. This track record can be used as evidence to demonstrate to investors how the company is able to cover IP risks and build intangible value. Investors will have more confidence committing funding to activities that can show continuing evolution and growth in intangible value. One benefit that's often overlooked is the increased level of engagement by employees and their sense of ownership around innovation. Patent filing activity enables employees who've participated in innovative development to be recognized formally as named inventors on patents, highlighting their contribution to key drivers of the company's technological advancement. This recognition can prompt other employees to come forward with their own invention disclosures. Heightened awareness of the importance of intellectual property will highlight the ways the company brings unique and special benefits to the market. Multifaceted recognition of intangibles as patents, trade secrets, or trademarks support a culture of pride in how the company contributes to broader society. And all of this combines to give a stronger sense of purpose to employees and makes them highly engaged. These motivated employees will then contribute to generating sustainable, profitable results. In an era where knowledge is value, companies are turning attention to identifying who has the knowledge. From there, the company can follow a process of capturing, storing, and making the knowledge reusable. In this way, the intangible value can be multiplied when made available to other team members, and furthermore, it will not be lost completely if an employee leaves the company. If you have any questions or you'd like a printable version of this chart, contact me.